Okay, today we're going to be doing a conversion of a Lionel Superliner passenger car. These are actually made, I'm going to bet, these are the last ones before they got rid of K-Line altogether. They have roller bearings that turn, end caps. They're actually beautiful cars. And it's a shame that we just don't make them anymore. But it is what it is. Lionel does. Lionel likes to show you they can do something and then never do it again. So, first thing we do is put it in the cradle, get our screwdriver, and remove these two screws. Now these are short screws. These are smaller. Just remember they go in the middle. Once we take them out, we take the ends off. Now these end steps have to go on before you do your finals. You put your end caps back on, and the reason is they won't pass the sides of the cars and they won't pass with the coupler. So see, they slide, but there's no way to get them on and off. We'll remove all the screws first. Pull them out. I like to use a magnetic tip screwdriver, it just makes it easier. These ends can be a pain sometimes. Obviously, these came off good. Unplug them, put them on the side. You don't need them for anything. They are quite nicely detailed. So now all the screws are out. We take the end steps out, put them over here. Put the screws over here out of the way and lift off the body. There's a master plug, which is power to the lights, and then a plug here for the lights on the top of the car. Here is the bottom of the car. Once it's disconnect, you can take it off and put it off to the side. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the spinning bearing caps, which are quite pretty. Unfortunately, of course, like I said, Lionel doesn't do them anymore. It's almost as if we show you we can do it and we'll never do it again. Put that out of the way. Take your body. It slides out. Now, it can be a bit of a pain. There is no proper way to slide them out, but it is not uncommon for the center, and this is going to be one of them, by the way, that it's not going to want to come out. So, we have to try our best to get them out. Sometimes what happens is the steps underneath get hung up on these doors and then they won't come out. So we're going to try to slide it this way. There we go. There we go. It comes out. There's the bottom. You can see very nice detail. Just push this aside, you don't need it. Take this out for now. We'll put it aside. We're going to do the top of the car first. So we're going to slide the lights out. Put this over here. Take the bulbs out. Put them over here. Push that down. Excuse me, take our 24-volt lighting and line it up. Now this is just cut easy with little or no difficulty. Take a knife and separate it. It's a bit of a pain for those of us who don't have long nails. Okay. Place your lights. And they're attached. Voila. So now what we have to do is we're going to take a black wire. This is 28 gauge. It's thin, but for this I like using thin. Cut the wire. Strip it with your teeth. Now, if there are any dentists, don't strip it with your teeth. Use a wire stripper. I try to keep the colors matched. Lionel tends to flip the colors constantly. I take my soldering iron, which is a soldering station. Make sure your tip is clean. I use a Dobie pad that I cut. I keep it wet. The top scrapes off. The wet does the final cleaning. Take a little bit of solder on your tip. Take your black wire. Place it on the soldering point. And it's done. Now we're going to take a red wire. I'm going to cut it. Take these, I will leave them there. Strip it again. Again. Don't use your teeth for all the dentists out there. Take a little bit of solder. Take our wire, place it on the solder point. And it's done. Now when we're going to jump the wires over to solder to the other points, we must be through here and come through, because on this slides on the roof and we don't want to rip or jam the wire. So we take up the first wire, which is black. We send it through. We're going to come to the Lionel solder point, which is right there. And take our solder again. Clean it. Check it. Good. Now we're going to take the red wire and send it through. And we're going to come to the same spot. Put it right through the hole. If I have to, I put something on it to hold it down. Take my solder. Voila. Those connections are made. Now, because this slides in on the roof, and the car of the roof, or the roof of the car is aluminum, we don't want any problems. So I have liquid wire tape, or liquid insulator, and I blob it right there. Now I'm going to place this aside because I don't need it right now. That'll dry pretty quick. And now we take this car body, move it over there. We take the bottom of the car, and this one is screwed into the plastic, so shorting out is not really, unless you pinch the wire, an issue. Now, the only thing you do have to remember is, see where this plug is? So we're going to put right there just to mark it. You don't see it, so it doesn't really matter. We're going to take the bulbs out again. tons of these bulbs. And we're going to take our thing here, and we're going to see that's about a good length. Yep. Take a wire cutter, and we're going to cut it again. Okay. That's interesting. They changed it. It's from silver. I don't know, it had silver on it. Okay. The copper. Interesting. So we take this. Make sure you push down the plugs. I don't even like removing them, because if you ever decide you want to return this back to factory, it's very easy to do. If you, of course, we have the bulbs with no issues. So we take this again. Now you're going to notice these things are going to overshoot the plugs. Or not the plugs, where the screws go, which could cause a problem. What I normally do is I lift them up, put the screw head on, screw it down, and then put a little piece of tape over it. So, move that out of the way. We need 2 wires, and we're going to connect to here. Now here we can just loop over. We don't need to worry about what's what. So we're going to take this. And in this case, it's a red and a black are the same wire. Black on this side goes right to the pickup shoe. Red on this side goes to the pickup shoe and above and the control board. Lionel loves to change colors. Again, I think I cut too much wire here. We're going to desolder, dewire this. I'm going to take some solder and very quickly get a little solder on here. Place the red wire where we want it to go. And that's done there. There's one. Take the black wire. Same thing. Get these out of the way. As you can see, this goes pretty quick. And I'm going to show you some of the detail. As you can see, this car has very nice detail. I guess this would be a typical Amtrak train with no passengers. Now, we strip our wire, grab some solder, go to the solder point. Nice. Turn it over. We want to make sure we're exactly where we want to be. And we are. Black to black, red to red. Very simple stuff. And like I said, just be aware, Lionel likes to change colors on us. And this is not uncommon for them. Okay. Turn the soldering iron off. That's done. This is done. Put this away. These wires are soldered nicely. Okay, so we have to turn this over, place this in here. Now remember, we marked it where the black plug went, which was on that side. So we get our wires underneath. We're going to pick this up out of the way, put the screw through. Try not to drop our screwdriver. Grab our screwdriver and put our screw through the plastic. Okay, here's one. I'm going to come over here it up again. And we're going to put the screws through again. Okay. Now, I like to put, if I can, a little piece of tape on the screw heads. I don't think it's really necessary, but I do it anyway because, you know what, I don't want to have to open it up again. And that just makes it so we're okay. There you go. Okay. Excuse me. So now, wires, everybody's okay. Nice. And we're done with this now. So we take the body of the car, place it back to where it was. Now, oh, look at that. There's your problem. These little windows here were blobbed in with glue. It looked like somebody else did it. Problem here, you should always check, is these little details here are actually epoxied in. And on some cars, they come loose. So we're going to take our pieces here. This goes like this. And then this step here aligns with this, like that, if you see it, okay? Now what I've noticed is we have glue here that somebody either did a repair or it came from the factory that way. And it may stick out just enough that it's catching. It looks like it caught here and it caught there. So we're going to take our end. And we're going to attempt to get it this side back in on its track. Alright. And sometimes we do it the other end, it's easier. So we'll take this off. I'm sure everybody's like, oh, you're not putting in the lighting on the top. I don't have to put the lighting on the top yet. And you see how that slides in nice? Okay. So now we take this and we drop this in. Now it has to slide underneath. There's things here that it has to go underneath. And that can be a problem. Yep, and it is a problem. Very good. Yep, we're at the glue. I see it. And it's going to be a problem, but we have to get past it. So we squeeze a little. I'm going to take this out. And look for a knife. Let's see if we can trim some of this glue away. This looks like a repair, actually. Get the pieces of the glue out. Put this back again where it belongs. And slide it. Come on. There you go, there's one. There you go, we're past it. What you have to try to do is get it to slide in. There you go. That's where it wants to be. Okay. Now we're pretty much, yep, that's about it. These can move around a little. Now before we do anything, we take the strip that goes on this end. And you see we have one wire here, which is for the controls. And what I'm looking for here is the secondary wire. I don't see it. It did not come through, possibly. All right. want to look underneath because sometimes this happens. The wire does not come through. We have one and we have two. And this is going to come into here. And we're going to pause for one moment. Okay. So the car is ready to be reassembled. What we need to do before we do anything else is you take your end, your master plug, we plug that in, right? And there is a light cable which we have not put in yet. Move this over, turn this around. This just slides in. You can put this in anytime. As you can see, it just slides right nicely in. Okay. For whatever reason, Lionel makes this one wire exceptionally short. Now you cannot mix and match them. There's only one male and one female for this. So the other wire then obviously goes to the pickup. So now this wire comes here, you plug this side in here. That's a red wire. You take this and we flip it over and we drop it in place. Make sure none of your wires are pinched and that you can get to them all, because it can be a pain. The plastic's got to align, and that's always been an issue on these cars. So what we do is we come over here. First thing we do is we want to get the small interior piece lined up. And the way we do that is I take a little piece, a little like probe, and move it around. And then the holes will line up. Once that happens, and you can then take your screwdriver and take a short screw. You don't want to tighten up the first one. You just put it in to align the bottom. And you take the second one and you put it in. And then you snug it in. And what that does is that aligns the bottom. Okay. Nice. Now I'm going to put an end on. So here, take our wire, we push it out of the way. That wire goes over here. Now I got to take an end. But before we do that, what did I say? These steps have to go first. Otherwise, you ain't never getting it back together without taking it apart again. And believe me, I've done enough of these where it's quite annoying. Now we put the plug back together. That's it. You tuck your wire in. The roof slides into the track that the lights screw into, slide onto. You make sure your end is tight, snapped in nice. Slide this down. And then what you do is you take a long screw. You put it in. You do not tighten it. Not yet. You just get them to thread in. You have to make sure they catch. These can be a bit of a pain because the interior and exterior mounts don't line up sometimes 100%. We slide this back, take a good look. They're lined up now. Put your screw in. It just went in. And then take your end and push it in so it's snug, but there's no space. You tighten these screws. Okay. There you go. Here we come over here and we see. These are nicely aligned. That way. Take the end, plug us in. Steps. Very important. Put it up, and then what you do is make sure your wires tuck in. And you just, okay, there you go. Make sure. You have to look to see why we're not. Now slide it in again. Tuck our wire in. Screws are in. Picked up two at once that time. Yeah, that's tight. Push on the end a little. Okay. Come over here, plug this in, grab a green wire, clip onto a roller. Grab a white wire, clip onto there, power on, off there, and look at that, huh? That not pretty? Even lining throughout the car, no issues at all. It looks beautiful. And that's how you do the conversion of a Lionel passenger car. Now, there are guys who will sell you the board so it doesn't flicker. Not hard to install. I don't do it, but it could be well worth it if that's something that bothers you.